Come on. Oh, there it goes. We're live. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome back. It's Sunday, and we're here after a bit of a hiatus. Hope you all can hear me okay. Hope everything sounds all right. And we're back. How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm well rested, but no.
Yeah.
I'm quite rested from comics, but I'm quite involved in other things, which is
Mm-hmm.
I rather have my comic books and I can forget about surrounding me, everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't get all of it what you want.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, we had a few weeks off, obviously, this summer because everybody's schedule was a bit busy, which is great. I mean, I guess we're getting into fall, sort of.
Yeah.
We've seemed to have a second summer here. Things have really heated up. We had a couple of big heat wave days, like plus 32, plus 34, which is unusual for us at this time. It's not unheard of, but it's not the norm, that's for sure. September, we start cooling down, and that's pretty much it for our summer, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it smells springy in here. I mean, autumny here. It doesn't smell anymore summery. Like you have the winds and you kind of sense the season changes. The best way for me to tell season changes is my bonsai trees telling me, oh, about to get cold.
Right.
It's like, oh, shit, where's the spring? I want spring already. Like the summer passed. I would like to have summer and then jump straight away into spring. That would be ideal for me.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, but
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Cold is coming.
Sorry, what's that?
The cold is coming, I said.
Cold is coming. Oh, it's coming. It's gonna hit, whether we like it or not. Hello, Comic Board. How are you?
How's it?
So is there anything? I don't know what you've been watching. It's been so long. Have you had a chance to see Thor yet? Have you caught up with anything? No, nothing, Kate.
The Thor, I'm not watched because it's not yet available on the download platforms and shit like that. So I'm not going. I haven't yet watched. I haven't looked of the people talking about it. I heard not very good things about Thor movie as well. Like it came out and just died down, and everyone not talking about it anymore. So kind of way maybe it's good for me because then I don't get spoilers because I try to get away with it.
Yep.
And then we watched some She-Hulk.
Oh, you did? Hey, Kate. And what did you think?
I watched 2 episodes so far.
Okay.
I love the actress.
Yeah.
She has really good actor skills, I guess.
Hey, yeah.
And then of course she's from Orphan Black.
Oh, all right. That's why I recognize her. Okay.
Yeah. Wait, I should dye my hair next time, okay?
I mean, I guess I look like Black Widow, but yeah.
Dude, you have more gray hair than I do. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's swap, okay? At least if you're gonna color your hair red, then we can talk about it.
Yeah. I do look good in a cat suit, though. So.
Yeah, and apparently I can have like sort of Russian accent on mine, so I could portray one.
Yep.
До свидания. Bye. Yeah, that's saying goodbye in Russian.
Yeah. So you liked the first 2 episodes then? Because we haven't started it yet. We're gonna wait until it's all out and then probably watch it.
I watched it because I really do like the Hulk by the character now by Mark Ruffalo created, which is hilarious and some shade kind of silly, but I was very curious. CG wise, I know why people are iffy about it because there's some sections where it's delayed.
Okay.
But not in the of course if you're Disney, I think what people are iffing about is you have money, why don't you spend it if you want to do it? Don't do it, then.
I'm a peel type. I'll be Steed then. I'll get myself a bowler.
Yeah. So and then so in generally so far interesting. Really weird when she breaks the barrier between herself and you as an audience. The Deadpool type things, which I know as a She-Hulk. If I read comic books, I very very aware, especially sensational, but I'm not as used to because I'm not really fully familiar with sensational She-Hulk because that's where they did it. More She-Hulk I know is from the original series, the Savage one, the Stan Lee written one, the last written thing he did apparently. Anyway, but so far it's very easy. Wow, it hasn't portrayed much of it. It's kind of in a way choppy.
Okay.
Not in a bad way though. And what I'm trying to say is they're not putting all like what they want to do with this show. Are they introducing the character? Are they going to do some villains going out in there? Or, what kind of purpose of this TV series in general is? So I'm not yet sure, but I like She-Hulk. So I'm a fan. And as I say, an actress, she's great. So in that sense, I'm okay with that. Because I know she's able to do anything wherever they're going to come up an idea for her to do, because knowing what she had done with Orphan Black and how many characters she had to portray in there, it's mind-boggling. At the time, there was one time she had a screen of like 5 or 6 versions of herself, because in a cloning situation, I think, and everything, and she had to do everything in different, like all of them, it seems to be had different emotional patterns, the hair, style, and everything, and she just had to act with herself, basically talk to herself at all bloody times.
Yeah.
So that it didn't feel unnatural, which is great. So good. They picked definitely a great character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
actor.
It's the first one that we've seen the trailer for that didn't catch us right away. It just didn't kind of grab our attention, so it's been easy to kind of let it slide for a bit. So because there's is there 6 episodes again? Is that what they're doing?
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I only watched. I think apparently there's 3. I watched 2.
Yep.
And so far, the best, of course, first episode, because the Hulk kind of we found out her original story, what they want to portray in this, because they kind of took whatever she had from comic books, but not really. Yep. They kind of had a spin on their own, I guess, which is what they usually do in Disney series anyway. They have their own twist.
Mm-hmm.
And then that interaction between 2 was great. It's funny, hilarious, very happy-go-lucky, very family-friendly as well at the moment.
Yeah.
So all the
seemed
kids
to be from the trailers too.
Yeah, all the kids could watch for at least first 2 episodes. So I've not seen any like crazy like bloody violence, which it has not portrayed yet.
Yeah.
Maybe when Abomination's coming out, that will come through, but you never know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very difficult to know because, as I say, they don't really tell you what this show is going to be all about and why they. I mean, there's lots of like Easter eggs apparently, but you have to really catch them in the right moment.
Right.
I think you have to rewatch it twice, or if you want, you go on Twitter and people, of course, will tell you everything.
Be some sort of analysis video out there, I'm sure.
And because they basically sometimes what they do, or as far as I know, is that they fix the timeline just in case something, or if it happened in the movie, and they take a TV show with the characters. And because she gives shit to Hulk about, him being superheroes, and then Captain America, she's like, yeah. So really, he had not had sex when he from the frozen time, or blah blah blah, because the stories we knew before, because he never had like a proper girlfriend in the media and shit. And then Hulk was like, no. She's like, he did coitus. I'm paraphrasing. Because, sex, okay, sex.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting in that sense. So it was those little kind of information is actually quite nice, especially if you follow the Marvel universe as itself. So, so it works.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've been, my son and I have been on this show called Reservation Dogs. That's on, at least here in North America, or here in Canada. I assume it's all of North America. It's on Disney. It's on a Star section is what it is. Star or something like that. It's stuff that's maybe a little more adult oriented. But it's had 2 seasons, and or it's had 1 full season, and the second season is currently going now. And oh man, is it ever good. It's one of those things like, we loved the Sandman stuff, which we could talk about in a sec if you've seen that. But we loved that series as a family. Like, we binged it over 2 weekends. We watched everything. And then it's the same with this Reservation Dogs. It feels like the level of writing is just so freaking good, right? Like, the characters are really good. It's this group of indigenous teens basically living on a reservation, and just kind of the life on a reservation. Apparently, it's the first indigenous produced, acted, directed, written show, and it's phenomenal, just kind of what their everyday life is. The setups are really good, but once you get into each of the characters, they just feel really fleshed out, and they feel like really like real people. It's quality writing. Like, when a show can do that, even a sideline character that you only see a little bit of, when they feel like a fully formed human being on a TV show, that's pretty impressive writing, right? And they have some really amazing actors as well, too. A lot of them kind of newer to acting, only have a couple of credits under their belt, and they are incredible. The main characters, the kids, are so funny. It's kind of, and it's also a nice mix of like comedy and drama.
Oh, wow,
It's
okay.
really balances that well. Like there's some really funny moments, but then there's some super. It's one of those where you're laughing, and then by the end of the episode, you're crying because it's just so intense. Some of the stuff they talk about, it's really good. Well worth checking out for those of you that can get it. And then Sandman. Have you watched that yet? Have you guys watched that?
Yeah, we haven't finished. Well, I've about that previous show you were just talking about. I've seen you talking about. I think that Travis. I think you were mentioning.
Yeah, Travis watched it too.
Because I've not seen this before. Because the thing is, with my Disney Plus account, is a bit like we cancel it, we open it, cancel. So you know, just to save all the cash in the world we can, basically, for doing that. So I've like I didn't even go look because I was like had mental note. Okay, I should check it out because if you say something, so kind of like we kind of have a similar taste in a way in a lot of things anyway. So I thought I'm gonna watch it. So yeah, it's very interesting.
It's well worth checking out. Yeah, it's
okay. I'm gonna
really
have a look.
quality. And then the new season is on FX. We don't have FX, so I just download the new episodes from SoulSeek, and we just watch that. It has subtitles burned into it, which is kind of funny at times because of the kind of slang that they use in it. They have this word Skoden, Skoden, and it basically means let's go, like let's go then, let's get going. So they use that. So seeing those translations in the subtitles are kind of funny sometimes because it doesn't translate it directly. Or one of the characters, she says fuck a lot, but the way she says it, they sometimes end up spelling it FAWK. That's kind of her accent on it and everything. So that's always kind of a funny bit to see the subtitles going.
I see.
So you're not done. You're not done, Sandman.
No, because we're finding difficulties now with when we're gonna watch together the things. I could just watch it myself, of course, easy, but I wanted to have experience that with my husband, and then it's quite intense TV show to be honest.
It sure as hell is.
And it's lots of information, and you're just digesting and understanding. For me, maybe it's a bit easier to digest because I've read it so far, what they showed, so I'm well familiar with whatever they are trying to portray on the show itself. But I wanted my husband to experience it with me, and he really likes it. So when you had a long work of day or bad day or something, you don't want that intense TV show at the end of the evening, to finish it off. And we tend to be like, we kind of like once we were watching and we fell asleep and we wake up and it's finished. And, and you're watching Sandman, so you kind of feel like, did I just what to do? And you don't look at each other. What's happened? Did we watch it? So it's kind of like we're trying our best to get to that. So we watched 4 episodes.
Okay.
4. Yeah, for sure. 4 episodes, and we absolutely loved it.
Oh man. You're just scratching the surface. 5 and 6, I think, were my favorite of the whole season.
I see. The death introduction to that episode. It killed me completely when I was reading the comic book.
Man, yep.
But then when you watch it visually, and thank God, I was so pleased that kid situation. They cut off a lot because comic book was so much more not graphic, but you've seen the scenes in the comic book, and the TV show they didn't use it. I was like, oh,
right. So then it's episode 4 and 5 that I'm thinking of, not 5 and 6, because that's one that again was one of those we're watching the show and that episode hits and it's the end of the episode and you look around the room, we've all got tears in our eyes. It's like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
Yeah,
I
clearly remember that issue I was reading because I was so happy to get her first appearance, of course, deaths, because the Sandman was going, in comic book community for a while for being, hot comic book because his first appearance of Death before the TV show hits. I was trying to look for it, and anyway, I got the first appearance of it. But I was reading. After that, I was destroyed for a week. I was like, I'm not reading Sandman. I don't want it. I was like, I don't. If it's gonna be like this after, and there is this Game of You, which we're not gonna touch this season, I guess. If you're going to continue next season, they will do that, where decapitation of one, not like removal of one's face skin, putting on the wall. Are you familiar with that story in the Sandman?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Oof,
I've never read the whole series. I've only read bits and pieces here and there.
So if I really wonder how they would do it, because that's really graphic in the comic book, and it's cartoony style in a way, like really mellow kind of colors, to be honest, comparing to what you can do these days in comic books. But that just as well, the sun come out and they had to talk. It was so weird.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's kind of nightmarish of the TV show is perfect. Would be for
Hmm.
people who likes that kind of stuff for sure.
Hmm.
I could digest it, as I say, in the comic book form, which is and still gave me a kind of creepy vibes. But I'm wondering how we're gonna attach that story, because that's like really good storyline. It's absolutely fantastic and really
Right.
sad as well. As if
Yeah.
it's not, there's nothing really happy happens really,
Yeah.
to be honest, in Sandman.
Right.
I mean, as far as I went to, like I gave up on it, to be honest, and I'm surprised that I am even saying that now, how much I enjoyed reading it, but realizing that Neil Gaiman is,
Hmm.
he gives you so much information, you keep on digesting, and you're like, oh my god, what's now? But if
Yeah.
you're interested, and at the same time you get tired. So I just like, I had to take a break from it. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, you're playing with my brain, man. I was like,
Well, and that's what he's so good at, right? Like
yeah.
talking about all of these things within these characters. Again, like another
Mhm.
one where all of them feel really fleshed out and like
Yeah.
just amazing stuff, and able to kind of tell these kind of on the surface simplistic stories. But I'm so glad that I follow him on Twitter, and I've seen
Okay.
some of the stuff that he's done in the past to kind of sabotage
Mhm.
previous
Yeah.
previous trials at doing something with Sandman, like
Yeah.
letting things leak and spreading stuff. And it's been entertaining because I mean, I think the biggest thing is if he wasn't involved in this, I don't think it would be nearly as good as it is, right? I think it's him being there as one of the creatives, executive producer, et cetera, that has it kind of at this level, so
Mhm.
which is great. I'm glad that he's still around to take the helm.
The thing is with that series in generally, I think if somebody just wears off slightly of the storyline, I don't know what way, because it's so intense and so vital for you to understand why, and things happening in places and time, and you start just getting to know everybody and why this is in place and why Sandman is struggling. There's those
Hmm.
the siblings of his, which is there's another level of it. So
Hmm.
it's everything kind of important. So if you just wear off a little bit, you can destroy the story, and especially if he's that much involved in it's his creation in the end of the day. So it's good to see that he actually is able to take hold of that and say, like,
Yeah.
dude, you want to make this, make it my way, and that's it. End of a storyline, which is great. Hopefully it continues that way.
Yep. Yeah, and even that they released that bonus episode too a few weeks ago, which
Okay.
is also really good too. It's kind of like two stories in one episode. That one was
Wow.
top notch as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just again, it's another one with some of the actors where they're incredible. I mean, they're
I
all
re-
they're all amazing.
I really like that story. I didn't really enjoy it in the comic format. You know, that story where he went every 100 years to meet the guy in the pub.
Yeah, I love that. So good, man.
That was great on TV. I don't know if I was kind of bored, to be
Mm,
honest,
mm-hmm.
in the comic format, and it was very wordy because they were, telling their story, what he did in 100 years. He was curious, blah blah blah.
Yep.
But in TV show, it felt much more entertaining. You know what I mean?
So
So,
entertaining.
you know,
Such a great concept too. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
And he goes in and has good times, bad times, but he still wants to live another 100 years. Okay,
yeah,
let's meet up. And then you have a story behind that because of Sandman's. There's some of his. Well, he's not really a god, is he? If
yeah,
he has this kind of feelings towards, or he needs those kind of feelings towards a simple human. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So that
yeah.
was great.
As a moody goth, that's what he needs.
I-
Comic Board is saying he's been rewatching Daredevil and forgot how dark it is. No way
yeah.
Disney is going to go that route. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was darker, that's for sure.
Ah, good.
Hello, Cheryl. How are you? Glad to hear
Yeah.
that others are enjoying it as much as I am. Yeah, I think it's one of those that it's quality TV, and it's like you were saying, Rasa. For me specifically,
Mhm.
I don't get into shows. It's really difficult for me to get
Mm,
into shows. I just don't
mm.
have much patience or interest.
Yeah.
But these ones, they caught both of them, Reservation Dogs and Sandman. They caught me right off the hop. Like I was hooked right away, So, and that's a pretty rare quality for me because I'd rather just go and read or go and do something else than sit through like 27 episodes of one season of some bullshit show that has 3 good episodes, right?
The only another great thing maybe for me is the actresses or actors they chose,
Mm-hmm.
and because of
Hello,
the
Colin.
the Lucifer part was absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I really like how it portrayed it, and of course, it didn't go in the comic route because, of course, and also that a Corinthian. Oh yes,
Yeah.
great actor. I mean, it's really kind of comic-like, almost exact to the point. Like really creepy,
Right.
and he portrays creepiness really well. And those like teeth for the eyes, it's just like
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
that scene, especially in the diner. And my husband, I said, and then he was going. I was like, so
So
where?
good, man.
I said, and he was like, so where this is going? It's like, just watch. You're not
Yep.
gonna believe what's gonna happen.
That was a dark episode. That was so good, though.
And it was, as I say, once again, great acting as well. So
Mhm.
fantastically chosen, and even those situations and stuff like that. And I know that people are complaining about diversity. They chose too much of
Yeah, people want to
diversity.
bitch about everything. Fuck them.
Yeah, but honestly, all the actors they picked, they spot on so far.
Yep.
And for me, watching British television is lots of English ones.
Yes.
So I am way familiar more, like
Yep.
their abilities, and they are as fantastic as what they do in Sandman. So
Honestly,
great.
that was something that really got me excited off the hop too. When I heard all
Yeah.
these British accents and stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is gonna be fun. Because I mean, the
You have
TV
to.
that I do watch, I like British stuff more than other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So while I don't know all the actors, but I do know the kind of quality that comes from British TV, right, with that smaller format. So I was really excited right out of the get-go.
Yeah, and all of them seems to be like as at the end of the day, it's in England. Most of us things based in England, so you have to have very strong. If an American can pull it off, no problem. Of course, if he can't pull it off, it's very difficult. It seems to be, but yeah, the acting so far is absolutely splendid, and I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah.
Because like I say, I really want to finish it because I'm kind of like, even talking to you now, it makes me want to go and watch it more. But it's just timing.
Have you seen Desire yet? Has Desire come up in yours?
Yes.
That is an attractive actor.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Like, dude.
Also, the way his sister, he was talking to his sister.
Yeah.
Despair,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's
yeah,
right.
and then as my husband's like, why she's cutting herself? It's because she's despair. And it's like, what do you mean? I mean, well, she's insecure, she's desperate.
Yep.
She's not sure exactly, and then at the end of a Desire is doing whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
Apparently they're twins, which is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's also portrayed in comic books, so nothing new about that. So yeah, really good acting. Yeah,
really
one of
good
the
stuff.
things, if you don't like watching much, just watch what they do, and it's just great.
And again, even from like my film side or whatever, like watching it, just the quality of the show too on top of it.
Oh, is it? Oh,
that
great.
quality is really good too, and some of the sets are really great. Just some of the design of everything is really, really nice. It's nice at blurring that line between reality and like some fantasy. You know what I mean? So.
And the funny thing about the crow, the Pat Oswald.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? And it's just so hilarious because I can face it, like I can see his face, and you see the crow talking. It's perfect, to be honest. I really like. It's a really good comedic break, to be honest, because of his voice and what he done before. So it's actually really welcoming and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. Okay, shall we get into it? Do you want to start us off here?
Oh shit. Shall I just show you what I have not read first?
Sure. Yeah. So
I'm just gonna show you what I got from my library.
Okay.
I don't know many things about it at all. So this is Paul B. Rainey. There's no time like the present. This moment has been a long time coming. This is by Escape Books, which is UK based. I've not heard of any publisher that. And the art is like very gray, like grays and blacks used, and very simplistic, to be honest, in that sense.
Looks nice. Yeah.
So as I say, I picked up at random. I looked inside for just art to see what it is. It seems to be a Doctor Who devotee, who's character in here, but we'll see. As I say, I don't know anything about it, so I just randomly picked up. I actually wanted to read it, but then I got distracted by other things.
Right.
like sport.
Yeah.
Shame on me, but yeah, I like sport. Oh yeah, I got very much into the Kang.
Oh, nice. This is the new series, right?
Yeah, this is the new, but I read a Kang's Secret War, the recent Secret War, I guess.
Yep.
Because I want to try to get familiar myself with its character. I'm not sure where to go, to be honest, about Kang. I know they have the Kang introduction in Fantastic Four. So I kind of wanted to get that epic collection, but I'm not sure if I, like, so, oh yeah, I remember why I didn't do it. Or that, which is there, that floating in the air,
Yep.
or epic edition. So I decided to do that. So
Heck, yes,
it's
you
shame
did.
on him, who floating guy.
Way to go, Doctor Strange.
So yeah, so Kang couldn't survive Doctor Strange figure, so I didn't
Right.
take it. But my library had this newer series of Kang the Conqueror.
Mhm.
So when I was reading, I don't have the book now, but I was reading the previous one. That was interesting because all your atypical these days Avengers. So you have She-Hulk. Was it She-Hulk? No, maybe not. Wasp, Giant Man, the America, but not America, but
Falcon.
yeah, Falcon
Yep.
America. You have Vision.
Black Knight in there as well too.
I don't know if it's Black Knight. No Black Knight.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway, it's very. I think it's really recent, like a couple of years
Yep.
back. They wrote that story anyway, and it was very interesting because what they went to time, time traveling. It's not really easy to pull it off, but they went basically. Vision did a baddie. He went into past and picked up a Kang's baby, the baby of Kang, like being.
Oh, that's right. I remember hearing about this. Yeah.
Yeah, took him away and basically kind of threatened him. So if you take him away, he can't exist. So he can't become a Kang the Conqueror. And then because he has so many like iterations of him kind of thing. They found out about it, so they went on a quest to basically destroy and do the same thing to Avengers. So they went into past and basically tried to kill off all the Avengers, or so they wouldn't exist. So
right.
that was
I think I had one or two of those that I was starting to read.
Yeah.
I'd read the first 2 issues of What You Have in Your Hand too, but I never continued with it.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, again, like some of the modern stuff, it seems like a lot. It seems daunting to get into because there's so much kind of history that directly ties into these stories. It's not as easy sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not too difficult either, but it just always feels like that to me a bit.
It's really beautiful. Like the covers are spectacular, to be honest.
The covers are really nice, yeah.
And the art inside is not bad either. So the creative team is okay. Let me just get okay. So Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, which I've not heard of them at all, are the writers, and Carlos Magno is the artist in this one. The one I read before was Mike Del Mundo completely in that story. Right. So the art was absolutely kind of like really good because it was.
Del Mundo was unbelievable. He's a fantastic artist. I think he did some of the Through Time stuff too. I think Del Mundo was at the helm there for some of that.
Yeah, and this one is a bit more like your atypical Marvel work, to be honest, but not bad. I mean, I'm still curious to see what they're gonna talk about. Yeah. But I just, as I say, this is next on my reading list, just because I want to know this character more. I'm curious because I really enjoyed him in Loki.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, because I know you were saying how much you like the character. I was like, so, kind of, I wanted to read more to find out about him. What's his game?
For me, to be honest, one of the things that I love the most about him is his design. I think he's an interesting character, and I think, like, especially now in the movies, he'll play a really good part in it, considering where they're going, because he's gonna be a big part of upcoming movies, right? Too.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah, as well of that, like you say about the design. That figure of his Kang, which is now you have lucky enough, but I don't want to pay that much money for a figure for sure.
Right.
I really do like the design of that figure for sure. It's so simplistically, but so well chosen. The colors, the clothing, everything is so, I don't know. It just really works for one thing. So anyway, the next one is called The Butchery.
Oh, nice.
Bastien Vives. In The Butchery, internationally acclaimed cartoonist Bastien Vives tells the story of relationship in the visual metaphors and small poetic moments. Lively dancing, silent scrolls hand in hand, still phone calls, tearful pillow talk, and all that stuff. And it's by Fantagraphics. So it's a beautifully produced book once again, and very simplistic at the beginning, but that's your art. So it's going to be interesting. And should be very quick. I don't know why I would just.
Wow.
I probably could do that now, just
Yeah.
by scrolling, and I'll tell you the story. But you know what I mean. So I want to take my time with what I pick up and just do.
Looks pretty neat.
Yeah, and
I
looks
don't know
very.
if Colin is still here, but I wonder if Colin knows that one.
Yeah. So I was thinking, why the hell? It's very simple. Yeah, but I probably spoiled myself. I just saw the last page.
Right.
Oh shit. Okay. And then something you were talking about. Oh, that's the book I managed to get hold of. Is the Golden.
Nice.
So volume 1, of course. So first, second as well. That one of the publishers I keep on talking about now.
Yep.
Which I really enjoy. Really good art, like you say. It's really visually stunning.
Gorgeous stuff. Yeah.
And then I was waiting so long for this, so that's why I didn't read, because I got the volume 2 first, which I didn't start on purpose because I'm on volume 1.
Sweet.
So yeah, this is what I haven't read yet.
Yeah. So you've read the first volume so far?
No, I haven't, as I say, because I received it just recently. Like I picked it up just recently because I got the volume 2 first. I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing that. I'm waiting for volume 1 so I can go in sequence, like proper people.
Yeah, and with something like that, you totally need to.
Yeah, and especially knowing that it's gonna come, so it's like there's no point,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so should I do whatever I've read now, or
yeah,
do you
sure.
want to?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, no, go for it.
Oh, okay. All right. So finally, I think this is the last. I'm very late on this. I'm on single issues. Like I get monthlies now. So if we had the break, we had kind of holidays and stuff like that. So I haven't really read much. So I finally finished this. I think it's finished, but I'm not really sure. It's Usagi Yojimbo Long Goat and the Kid. And thankfully, in this issue, finally, we have a really full story of that lone goat and the kid. And it was as amazing what you would think would be this Stan Sakai. I wish they wouldn't have prolonged it in 6 issues. I mean, I enjoyed the previous stories, but especially when you're mentioning Lone Goat and the Kid, you want us, what you expected in the title to be in the comic book itself. But it was very good storyline. Of course, all betrayals by one guy or by a couple of guys to gain power, and of course, our Ronin or other assassin, let's say this way, gets involved because they are in the way, or the opponents in the chess table. So really good. It's as entertaining as ever, and it's always worth those moments. Especially this is the first moment we both meet. And then they, even though it's a animals, but they have really good facial expressions. The intent, and the fighting scene's always great. And this kid, he is too adorable, but he has his own things to do, and how he is basically helps his father. So yeah, this is, as Usagi Yojimbo has always been as entertaining as ever. So, and the story ends with really good moments. The scenes of crash, and you think the kid is dead, but of course, Usagi is always there. Everything goes into kind of like, okay, it's ended. Thank you. We're finished.
Yeah.
It gets, as I say, always very satisfying read, because it's I don't know. It's just Usagi.
It's just quality stuff. Yeah, it's really good stuff. I've got to really get the next volume. I've have that one volume, and I'd like to keep up with it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I really enjoy reading singles. Yep. I know it takes some time for me to get to read them, but when I do, the chunk of the comic itself is really good. And I know if you read it in the whole chunk, I don't think he was intending it to be as a prolonged graphic novel format. I think this is really plays well in comic book formats. To be honest.
Serialized. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, in the floppy, you get your two issues, and you get the reward completely throughout that time. So yeah,
cool.
Great. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, for sure it is. Why don't I start with this one? Let's see, where am I?
How can you do this time?
We'll start with the Cheech Wizard. It's something that came in at my comic shop around the corner from me. I actually got a
Oh,
message this afternoon from one of the local
yeah.
guys here. He just ended up buying he says a big quote unquote underground comics lot. So I'm trying
Uh-huh.
to work it out with him where I can come and see that stuff, because I'm hoping there's stuff that I can grab before he sells it off. So there
Ooh.
was another kind of small stack that came in of underground stuff, and I picked up this. The shop owner had his hands on it because he wasn't sure if he had this yet.
Mhm.
Thankfully, he didn't, and passed it on to me.
Uh-huh.
I haven't read a ton of Von Baudet stuff, but the
Mhm.
stuff that I've read, it's not been bad. There was the one called The Man that I really liked, but I'm
Mhm.
not a huge fan of his stuff. I do appreciate that he's got a style that, even when we're looking at like graffiti. Hello,
Mhm.
Longbox Drive Diver. When we're looking at like graffiti culture and things, Von Baudet, his
Yeah.
characters get into that in New York in the 70s. So the thing with this one is it's also got a short story running along the bottom
Mhm.
sideways of Von Baudet himself.
Oh.
This one was so good. This one was such a great. It was a great comic, and like on page 2, Cheech Wizard's stories are clean, wholesome, reflective truths that go great with the marijuana munchies and a blowjob. And
Oh.
this really sets the tone for the entire thing. So along the bottom here, you
Yeah.
get kind of panel by panel of
Oh.
Von Baudet himself talking about kind of existence and just being alive and
Mhm.
experiencing life. He's kind of like we were talking about desire before.
Yeah.
Von Baudet would be kind of that personification of desire. He was gender fluid, I believe. I don't
Okay.
think he identified as a man or a woman,
Uh-huh.
and he was just a really free spirit. So
Mhm.
I thought that this was a really good mix, because you have these kind of gag strips and stuff at the top,
Yeah.
which are they're pretty funny actually. One of the biggest gags is getting Cheech Wizard's hat off, because everybody wants to see what he looks like. So you get these gag strips on the top, and then kind of like a little serious short story.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that worked incredibly well together.
Uh-huh.
Um, Really, really nice. So yeah, this was a really great surprise. Like, along with Man, I think this is the my favorite stuff that I've read from him.
Mhm.
He's always worth looking at, though, don't really even if the stories don't really appeal to you. His art is just so nice,
Yeah.
and it's kind of simplistic, and the way they kind of go off the panels, and just these kind of
Mhm.
rounded corner panels and stuff that he uses it's really quality. His style is very, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hold on one sec. I have a visitor here. Give me a sec.
Okay. Right. Now I'm just gonna not say anything. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I'm here.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that was like I was saying, it was a good pickup. If you see it, I wouldn't hesitate picking the. It's called Schizophrenia, is what this issue is called, and it's just a one shot. It's just on its own.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
don't know. Seeing that guy with the hat, I don't know. I can't look it now. I see Smurfs. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
maybe that's what he looked like inside. It's like Smurf.
yeah.
That would be hilarious, though.
That would be, yeah.
Somebody X-rated Smurf. I guess somebody tried it anyway. That's
I'm sure somebody has.
yeah, no, we all perverts anyway. At the end of the day, so okay, it's my
Um,
turn. Isn't it?
Hello, Andrew Lopez. By the way, we saw you there. Hello.
Hello. I haven't read much, so I'm gonna finish quite quick. You read this?
I haven't picked it up. My shop didn't have it. They had number 3 in my pull box. So I brought it home because it was a cover I didn't have, and I was super excited, and I sat down to read it, and I'm like, I've read this before. And then I look on the front, and it was like, fuck. So they gave me the wrong issue. So I don't have number 4.
Oh shit! So I
I
can't.
mean, you could talk about it. It's fine. I'm okay with seeing it.
Oh, but I don't. I wouldn't be. So I wouldn't want to do
No,
it.
it's okay. It's all right.
So it's I don't know
It's
how.
fighting. There's not going to be much spoilers
It's actually
story-wise.
quite
You know what I mean?
wordy this time, especially.
Was it really?
Yeah, because well, this creature, I don't know what you call it, to be honest. I don't know, but this entity, let's say this way,
Yeah.
he was like, well, we had thought he's going to be actually eating him alive because he caught him in the same moment from the previous issue. And then he actually makes him shout back to an almost, because he was on the brink of death. And then he basically healed him. So it was interesting. And then it is, the one game I'm doing now while I'm reading Jeff Darrow.
What's that?
It's like the where's the Wally? That character.
Yeah. Where's Waldo? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I look, where's the lizard? And Jesus, sometimes, honestly, he's talking, and you're like, where the, sometimes you don't see it in the panels, like, where is he? And it's like, I'm purposely, I think, because this helps me to appreciate Darrow's art even further more because of the details, and you can immerse yourself for like hours. But so at some levels, I couldn't even see him because in this moments of storyline telling, that's him all grown up with this child talking about it. But then here is the past scenes, how he was introduced to our character. And some of us like, I can't see him, and then you find it, like, especially this was the one
amazing.
I couldn't find it. So I was like, where the hell is he? It's too much action. And then you see a dog with a man's head. That was hilarious. Then you have all like Darrow's typical panels, and this one is no brainer, and that's what when you get a hardcover. And if Dark Horse wouldn't be a publisher, I would absolutely hate the gutter loss, as we call them,
right?
Because this is what you need to see, is everything, every single detail, because every situation where every single person got shot, there's action, and if you can actually follow it, it's actually quite entertaining. I tried through, I got lost in like I don't know how many persons is here shooting about, but I was trying to find the bullet shooting why and who got killed first. It's just a game. Sometimes I play with art because this is exactly what it is. Basically, I think it's trying to make you get lost in this art because of what he can portray, and also the creatures he can create.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely, I don't know what the hell where he come from, where he's come from, but it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it's kind of because I think you could have finished the story with this issue, but then he found an opening. And I think that's why from actually having only 4 issues, we're going to have 7.
Yeah.
And how it will be, I'm not going to show. It's a spoiler alert. So I'm not going to show that, because that's kind of like, I was surprised by it, because I was like, okay, this is kind of finished. Are you sure you're doing 7 issues? And I flipped a couple more pages and I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Cool.
And then how it goes into, and also, funny enough, he says to you to go into a comic book previously written by him, which is, I'm not sure if he's done that before. So this dude has his pointy finger shot off or bitten off, and he's keep on complaining. Hey, Jacko. He's complaining. He's like sore at the beginning, then he's itching, then he's like looks like an asshole, and like all that stuff. Like your typical Darrow writing. And then he says, if you want to find out a bit more about this story, is go to Shadow Cowboy, Who Will Stop the Rain. Apparently, these characters are from there, so. Which is great. I mean, I will go back because I want to see again because I don't remember. But yeah, this is because it's as crazy as always. Art is as beautiful that it is. It's not as those beautiful pages of the birds from previous issue. I really liked. This is as great as always, but those were standing out for me even more because of the complexity of the story or the art.
Me as well, man. Yeah, those were some of the best Darrow pages that I've ever seen, I think.
But this is as complicated as ever. I mean, imagine wanting to live in this town. It's like, it's gross. I mean, I don't know if I would be able to step on it and feel happy about it, because how many diseases you can get. Anyway, and he is always as calm as always, as collected as always. Our character is. So.
It's really like him kind of cleaning out his brain pan of all the experiences and all the toys and all the excites he's seen, and just throwing it up on the page with all these details, because he just is getting out everything that he's experienced across his, however old he is now, 50s, 60s. I'm not sure how old he is, but it's amazing stuff.
Is this Japanese or Chinese?
Chinese. Shaolin, I think, is Chinese, isn't it?
Yeah, wow.
But then he has some Japanese elements, because I know he's well, I don't know anything about the guy to some degree, but I mean, from what I gather, he's really immersed in kind of Japanese culture. And I think, did he live there? Maybe, I don't remember. Anyway.
Oh.
Oh, look at this. Tibet. Yes, thank you, Andrew Lopez. Tibet.
Is that what it says?
Shaolin, I think, is from Tibet, is what Andrew was saying. My mistake.
Okay. Okay, I was thinking it could translate somewhere, but because sometimes we put some hidden messages, you don't know where it is, but if you look through, sometimes you can be surprised, because it definitely has a meaning here.
Right,
So,
right.
knowing him, how meticulous he is with his hearts,
yeah,
and stuff. Actually, there is, so that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's mine.
Cool. Yeah, I can't believe they screwed it up. I need my Shaolin cowboy. It'll teach me to kind of pay closer attention, though. And it's one of the frustrating things with all these covers, because I didn't pick up on it right away. I just saw a cover that I didn't recognize, and okay, perfect. I didn't think of kind of looking any closer, but so a bit of a pisser, a bit of waste of money, but what are you going to do? If it's going to go to somebody, I'd rather go to a guy like Darrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does live in France now, Longbox Diver. I think you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And small little town where nobody wants to be, he doesn't want to talk to about.
Yeah, that's right.
He doesn't have
wants
friends.
to be left alone.
That's funny.
So let's talk about this one here. Where am I there? I got my hands on this sucker.
Yeah, what is controversy about this?
I don't know what the controversy is. I think that they didn't print a lot of the first editions, so it sold out really fast, from what I'm understanding. Apparently, there's also a slipcase edition too. I think it's signed and numbered, and maybe there's a piece of art or something or maybe a book plate. I don't remember, but either way, my shop around the corner just had the one copy, and because every week he's posting kind of the new comics, I saw the posting of it, and immediately messaged him and said, "Hey, I'll take it if it's still around." So he held on to it for me. It is gorgeous art.
Oof, yeah, I know. I think you post them on Instagram.
I did.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, on the Twitter as well.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. I love seeing Alex Ross in kind of this style, because his art is fantastic anyway. But this kind of...
Oh, you disappeared, Terrence. Hello. Uh-oh. Are you back? I can't hear you.
Do you got me still? Am I still here?
Yeah. I can hear now, and you hear now in picture.
I had some warning thing came through. It stopped everything. So I love this coloring in it, and I love his kind of what it does to his art already. What I didn't know, was that this was his version of a Stan Lee Jack Kirby story.
Oh, is it?
So it's just an update.
Oh no, he's doing that again. Comic crack! No, you black screen warning. Okay, you back.
Okay, all right. Geez, I don't know what the heck is going on. The problem with doing it on the phone. So apparently, it's his updated version of a Kirby and Stan Lee story, which really made sense, because the story is boring as hell, and it just did not do anything for me whatsoever. I didn't care a single bit. But the art is just gorgeous, and I love that it's this kind of bigger hardcover. So our usual, here's a comic, so it's bigger than a comic, and it's nice to have something like this, a hardcover as well, and it's a really quality made hardcover as well too. This isn't no half-assed. And the thing that's impressive is knowing that it was Kirby, based on Kirby art. There's so many panels, even when I was reading it, because I didn't know that at first. When I was reading it, I thought there was a lot of Kirby influence. Like, I would say some of the buildings, the black line work on the buildings there really scream.
Oh no, he's gone again. No, you stupid phone. Let us have a conversation.
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay, I'm back.
I think somebody has juju on this Alex Ross thing.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't like the story whatsoever, but I
Oh.
did really like the art a lot. I thought it was really beautiful. If you can get your hands on it, I would say go for it. It's Abrams Comics art. They have a relationship with Marvel now. They're going to be doing these Abrams Comics art Marvel books, I guess. They talk about Welcome to the Negative Zone and introducing Marvel Arts, an exciting new graphic novel collaboration between Marvel Comics and Abrams Comics art, where nothing is impossible and anything can happen. So I don't know if this is the first of a bunch of books like this they're going to do, or what the story is, or maybe they've done some in the past. But if they continue on with this and do this kind of thing going forward, have this relationship going forward, I'm super excited about that. And I would pick them up. Yeah, there's the Marvel Arts at the top there. I'd pick them up if it was kind of to the quality that this is. This was money well spent. It was like $31.99 Canadian, which is what, $17.99 UK, $24.99 US. So I'm sure that they'll print more. I'm sure that this won't be it. If this first edition sold out this quick, I imagine they'll do some more. So I think you'll be able to get it at some point. But if you see it, grab it.
I was looking to see if I could, but then I didn't. I have to prioritize my spending, becoming very harsh on my comic spending stuff.
Yeah.
Because of, I have to put food on the table at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Comics, unfortunately.
Yep.
If I could consume them as a food, that would be great.
I'm gonna put you as solo. I gotta go and make a phone call. I'll be back though.
Oh, croup.
Hey, I'll be back. You just keep going, keep chatting.
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll be right back.
Bravery juice first before I start there. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna go on Deadly Class read the phone I did, because I came out 2 issues in 1 month, and it's only 1 issue left, and I kind of left it because I thought I read it, but I haven't. So I have issue 53. I went for the whole run, so I start reading this Deadly Class from the issue 1, and this is getting to the point of the end, of course. So I'm gonna mention 54 and 55, and all of them coming to a point of, as I was guessing. So Deadly Class is those kids in school have the scene. This is the badge or insignia, I guess. And they were all assassins, a school for kids that were assassins, and it's basically the whole life throughout. Of course, there's TV series came out, which didn't come out. They didn't have a second season following, but I wasn't even following TV series because I just really enjoyed Deadly Class as a comic format. One of my favorite things of this is Wes Craig. Of course, I am a fan of Rick Remendez. Really love what he's creating so far, and I'm always trying to curiously see. But when I start series, and especially if I continuously enjoying monthly comic books, I always try to go as long as I can, and it seems to going from strength to strength. And of course, yeah, it didn't given a chance. Longbooks Diver, they weren't given a chance when the TV series came out. I think maybe wrong network. And it's funny enough, in this comic book, he's kind of mentioning that stuff with a different name, or with our main character creating a book, and from the book it came into a TV series. So it was very interesting what Rick Remendez ending story will be. This is one of the characters already aged. So if you're not familiar with Deadly Class, we always go throughout the years, as you can see about Obama. So they take a significant moment in time and kind of put that into comic book, kind of following the timeline of our characters, and they all really kind of aged. So this is a German kid, but now he looks kind of old man. I think his name is Hamut. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. After like you're reading this comic book for a while, some of the characters kind of especially not the main ones, they kind of disappear from your brain. But anyway, he is after one of the classmates, and he's supposed to assassinate him but unfortunately, there's somebody braver or cunning than he is, and he came to his demise. There are lots of heartbreaking storylines, but as I say, if you have followed the story throughout those issues, it's a lot of rewards, a lot of kind of like uncertainty, because knowing Rick Remender's writing, you never know or how the characters will be. Will we getting a happy story at the end, of course, or will we get them being murdered? Or like you always hope for the best for your characters, especially if they are favorite of yours. But a lot of things would happen in Deadly Class unfortunately isn't. It's also quite gory at some moments because, of course, there's lots of killing and chopping happening. And yeah, really great scenes of death. And one of the best things what Wes Craig does for this book is that his storytelling in each panel is really fantastic. Also, I think what Rick Remender is really good at, and if you guys know this book, he picks really good artists to create his storyline. So this is no exception. Yeah, it's it's as great as fantastic it is. All our following characters are in distress. Unfortunately, this guy came into our lives or people's lives. So yeah, it's another significant point in life. And yeah, very good color scheme. So Lee Luridge is the colorist of this comic book as well, which is I really thoroughly enjoy. So this is where is our Marcus creating a comic or a science fiction book. So he gets into publishing this kind of story, and actually the sci-fi story he's talking about is actually Rick Remender's creation. So it's kind of interesting how he creates the characters to kind of showcase or use what he's written before in his other comic books, which is really good. Is this my favorite Rick Remender series? For longevity, yes. For what I've read, this is the longest thing I've read of his, first of all. Oh, but or actually, I'm now going to change my mind. One of my favorite, what's introduced me to Rick Remender is Marvel's work of his. It's called Uncanny X-Force, the best story of X-Force or Marvel work I've read. Even I would probably put that on first place from anything I've read so far from recent days of Marvel. So if you have not read Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender, I recommend it. If you are at all interested in those superheroes, and if you want to see Deadpool in a different light and not being all that quirky at all times, it's really great story to follow. So yeah, this is as absolutely fantastic as it is. Lots of memory lanes, and then there's the last one of this Deadly Class. I followed Black Science as well, coming board throughout his the whole run. I enjoy it, but I don't know, to be honest. This is really kind of because I like the characters. I really like especially our main character, the Marcus, the turmoil and all the stuff, his background. Because we in this series he gave us almost the whole life of the character, and I think that's how probably is going to be in his own demise. But when you talking about assassins, usually the end is not really the happy one. But yeah, I really enjoyed Black Science, and I really enjoyed Matteo Scalera in there. That's where I think he puts his name from that comic book onwards. I think that's where everybody's starting to kind of see him more, and he's starting gaining more like viewers and stuff. And this is the timeline, very familiar for you in America. Exactly know what's happened in that time. So yeah, and then we see Marcus is really old, well, aged even furthermore, and now he's actually happily in here in Hawaii, hiding from COVID, funny enough, and dealing with family and life issues surrounding us, kind of thing. So very much of like maybe a little bit way too realistic, but as I say, we're following him through the times, and it's kind of interesting that he's continuously having been able to tell that. And I'm not much saying of the story. It's a very complex storyline, but honestly, it's a well rewarding, and a character who I thought has died. She appears in this issue, but not to the point of of the what I felt she was before. So I really, it's a Saya. Basically, Marcus and Saya was kind of like couple in a way, and they were really in love together. But she has her demons, he has his demons. So anyway, so let's say I don't think I do much justice by talking about this.
This is a Deadly Class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have great scenes in here. The coloring, as I say, is spectacular.
Yeah, it's really nice looking.
But then,
oh wow, look at that.
You have those scenes like that, and it's. Well, I think saying I enjoyed Wes Craig's paneling, but honestly, throughout this 50 will be 6 issues, the guy's creative abilities in paneling is astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he's gonna create his own comic book. Wes Craig.
Nice.
It's called Kaya. It's gonna. I don't know exactly the background of the character or the I think it's sci-fi tale, but he's gonna be created by him, written by him, drawn by him. So his own baby. So yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I was just like, this is, for me, it's like you're going through the photo albums and looking what happened to your family members in a way. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of that kind of like look back, in seeing this. So yeah, really interesting, but it's difficult to kind of explain it in small detail, especially how much happening in the storyline and how everything, whatever they did throughout this comic book, is happening now and why this is happening now. But I think it reads really well in collected editions.
Mm-hmm. Because they got those nice hardcover ones that I eyeball every once in a while.
It seems the scene flowing is so quick, and it's, as I say, you start to immerse yourself in the art, and then the more you look at it, you're just like, why? How he did that? It looks very. It's like, I don't know how to explain these panel selections, but they look really fluid, and exactly what you never get lost. Like you don't have to go like your head tilting that way or thinking like, is this the way you're supposed to storyline going? It's really clear and concise. So one of the things.
How many? Sorry, I'm just jumping back in now. But how many issues does it go? Is that's not the last one yet? Is it?
No, issue 56 is the last.
56. Okay.
Yeah. So he was saying before, I think there was a talk that he was going to finish in 50, but then he said, no, this is one of the things I will take my time to finish. It's been a long journey, 50 something issues. How many years? 2013, I think he started this.
Oh wow, yeah.
So 10 years. No, can't be. 9 years? No, cannot be. 53, 12 issues a year, maybe. But there was a couple of breaks.
Sure, breaks, yeah.
Because of a TV series, there was a quite significant break in that time. But yeah, I don't know. As I say, I've been following it so long. I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah.
It's like a staple thing in my comic policy, and you're like, oh, and you then because this came out 2 issues in 1 month. I was like, because like why did I deja vu? Like I've seen it already, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's gonna kind of pump out 2 once in 1 month, maybe, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, very good. Cool. As I say, if you're a fan of recommends, I guess it's well worth reading. This complexity and true life in there as well. Apparently, he puts a lot of his own experiences inside in there. Because he had through quite a bit of a shit as well throughout life. So
yeah, I think that's what he does so well with his stuff. He always seems to inject parts of his personality into it, So Low is one, like I see Comic Board mentioning Black Science, and I've never finished that one either. I read quite a bit of it, but I've never finished it. I was digging it, but I really liked Low as well. I thought that was really solid. So maybe he's a guy that I do need to pick up some hardcover collections and.
You can find sometimes they get on like those deals you can find because they've been a while in the production anyway. But it's kind of like I am long term. Like if I like something, I usually continue until the end with singles. Like I've done with like Black Science I've done for like complete, full and utterly. Then this is gonna be complete. I didn't do low. This is the only recommend I didn't like.
Yep.
I couldn't digest the art. I just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
The story, the panels were a bit confusing. The story was quite complex. The art didn't help the complexity for me in the storyline.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Turtles. I've been reading them for 100 issues already.
Yeah.
So how long that been?
That's crazy, man.
Just thinking about it, like 100 something 20 issues of Turtles, I think now, and I've been throughout there, and then just continuously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So
cool.
Yeah. Cool. So that's my last thing I read.
That's it already? That's all that you did this week?
Yeah, I told you.
Oh, geez.
I haven't really read that.
Yeah. Well, I'll be selective with these last few things.
No, don't worry. Go on. Just listen. I will be participating and listening and giving.
So, one that kind of surprised me, and I'm not sure what I think of it. It's this The Killer of Crows. This is a Caliber Press. What year are we looking at here? 1991. This character's name was Dapiak Absaroka, and it's a kind of, it's taken from history. So there was a couple of things. When I started it out, I was surprised. Caliber Press, in my mind, has a very specific type of book that they do. So right away, where we get a history of kind of the mountain men, for quite a few pages, about 6 pages, with old photos and kind of history of the characters and history of the United States in the early 1800s. I want to say 1806-ish is when this takes, or maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's 1830s, possibly. I'm not seeing a year right jumping out at me, but early 1800s anyway. So we get a nice history of these guys who were kind of coming and settling and trapping and their interactions with indigenous people. So that was a really, really nice start. I thought that was, and it took me by surprise that it was something in a Caliber book.
I see.
So then we get into the story itself, where we kind of meet our main characters, and that's where it sort of it kind of made me uncomfortable, let's just say, because it seemed to kind of, there's a certain revelation in some of these books when it comes to violence and things, that I'm fine with for the most part. I understand it, but it seemed like it was something like, it started to feel like they threw in all of this historical stuff so they could do page after page. And I'm not saying that this isn't the way history went. I'm not saying that at all. It seemed that so they could revel in kind of the butchering of the indigenous peoples by these white guys, right? And again, I'm absolutely not implying that that wasn't the reality of the situation whatsoever. Yeah. There was something a little off-putting about some of it, the way that it seemed to be well thought out with kind of the history side of things. But then when you came to the storytelling side, it just seemed to kind of jump really quickly to just show some kind of violence and people getting scalped and getting their heads cut off and that sort of thing and put on pikes. So it seemed to accelerate really, really quick. So I wasn't hating it. It still had its interesting moments because of, again, it kind of turns into this interaction between these different peoples. And then it ends off with kind of a little more of kind of history of kind of the end of these mountain men and kind of an end of an era kind of thing. So again, it gives this nice kind of historical context. So it was a surprising book. Like I said, when I think of Caliber, I just don't think of stuff like this. So it was nice to get surprised at something where they feel like another company that at the time were trying to delve into a couple of different territories, whether it was kind of humor anthologies or horror anthologies or kind of like the style at the time of these, I don't know, just to the right of superhero books, and spy and espionage and all these different territories. It's nice to see them tackle something that's kind of based on history. And I don't know if they've done anything else like this. I'd be curious to find out, though. Because by the end of it, I was still interested enough to see maybe they've done other things like this, right? So yeah, I just felt that it was a little much the way they handled it in the story. I do realize they also had some less pages to kind of tell that side of the story because it was bookended with this history. But I do like the Caliber aesthetic. And then speaking of Caliber, it's just this one. I think there might be one other one. This one appeared in an anthology, which I think I have here as well, called Roulette. So there was a single issue Roulette from Caliber, and it was a collection of, I think it's 5 different stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different stories. So you get kind of the first 8 to 10 pages of each of these stories that were going to be continuing series. One of them that stood out to me was this Lost Angel. I thought it was a pretty good premise. Gaijin was another one that jumped out at me as well, and I think this Dutch Decker and the Voodoo Queen was pretty good. Sorry, say that again.
Are they all game names?
That's a good question. Lost Angel, Gamut, Renegade. Renegade could be a game name for sure. Yeah, possibly.
Because they're like roulette. I mean, I don't know Lost Angel, but Gambit is part of gaming. And somehow the Gaijin or maybe Dutch Decker kind of sounds like, maybe it could be a game.
An arcade game for sure. So one of the first stories they have is this Lost Angel. So that it's the classic anthology. It's a really great idea. This was supposed to run a bunch of issues, but it didn't end up going any further than this first one. I guess that they were kind of transitioning to they wanted to announce a bunch of new titles, and this was going to be their title, like their Dark Horse Presents kind of thing. They would just kind of have these stories continue issue to issue. That's a pretty nice panel there. I like that. And it's pretty fun. There's some really, really good stuff in here, and even the ones that didn't interest me as much. Check that one out for your Wolverine type character.
Yeah, it does. Nice teeth.
Yeah, even the ones that didn't interest me as much, they still had something to them. That was this Renegade story with that Wolverine looking guy. There was enough there that I was intrigued that if this would have continued like 8 or 10 issues, I would absolutely keep a lookout for them. This last one had a nice style. This is the Dutch Decker story here.
Interesting.
Kind of a Western. It looks pretty good. I can't remember too much about most of these stories, to be honest with you. These were early week reading, late at night readings. So anyway, that one jumped out at me. The Lost Angel jumped out at me. And when I searched online, I recognized the cover and dug through the bin. So this only lasted 1 issue. I feel like this is maybe around the time. I don't know their timeline. No, this is still early 90s. So I'm sure that Caliber went on beyond this. So you get the retelling. You just get that first 8 pages, and then it kind of continues with the story. This had so much promise, and it sort of got away from them, I think. Like, this had shades of Miss Tree. It had shades of Modesty Blaze. It had shades of, like, Velvet. This kind of female spy or espionage agent to some degree. She's kind of a private investigator, and she takes on these cases. She doesn't accept pay for them. She expects you to make a contribution to charities and things like that in payment for her services. So this one had a lot of really good elements, and then it just completely fell apart. It feels like they got to a part where they just didn't know how to continue. And so they just kind of threw it all together to finish it off. So there was a lot of like really loose ends, and it just really, it fell off in a big way. Because by the last like 10 pages or something, I was just not interested. This one's a little bit of a thicker one, so I don't know if it's a 40 pager or something like that, but I just wasn't interested anymore in the end. And they sort of just threw stuff together, and here's the answer to this, and here's what happened here. And it was like, well, damn. It's one of those that could have been stretched out over 6 issues, and I think it would have been pretty amazing. The art is passable. It's not my favorite, even by kind of Caliber standards. It doesn't amaze me, but there was some really nice storytelling in here, so it was kind of disappointing. It felt like it was going to potentially be one of those, the lost in time gems when you kind of dig some of this stuff up, but that's not the case.
I see.
So, give it a chance if you see it cheap, but I wouldn't go out of your way to find it. Um,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this one that Lily and I started reading, because this might appeal to you as well.
What is it?
A newer one. It's called Flavor Girls from Archaea.
Okay.
So we were looking when we went to the shop to pick up my stuff. We're always kind of on the lookout for anything that we might be able to read together,
Mm-hmm.
because we love, we've read Bone together.
Yeah.
We read a couple of things together.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really, really, so first of all, it's another like giant sized issue.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Amazing kind of quality to everything. It was a
Okay.
$7.99 US book, but you're getting like, it feels like almost 3 comics worth in this one. It's so dense.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. This kind of not quite post-apocalyptic world, but there's these kind of group of girls. There's been this alien head that's floating in the atmosphere of Earth, and you can see it in the sky all the time. And they're
That's
trying to
good.
communicate with these aliens, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go so well.
Uh-oh.
So they're kind of now living, we now jump to the future where they're living with this kind of force field that's been put over top of the planet, to kind of try to have a bit of a defense system. And there's these few women who they call the Flavor Girls, who are kind of like the heroes of the planet that kind of come down and save people.
Uh-huh.
The art is fun, even if sometimes it goes a little too simple.
Yeah.
It's still not bad. There's some really nice moments in it.
Mm-hmm.
So our main character kind of gets involved in that world, let's say, and it just kind of goes from there. I don't want to give too much away, but this was fun. My daughter was really into it. Again, it's one of those that it's nice to find these and read it with her, and by the end, she's, oh my God, that's it. How long do we have to wait? And asking all the questions. It's nice to have something that she can look forward to. So we'll probably add this to our pull list. And
So it's not just one-off, yeah?
no, it's not. Yeah, number 1 of a series.
Okay.
I can't pronounce that name, but there's the
Lloyd
creator's name.
Loketi Korn. Oh my God, Kornsky.
Yeah,
That is a mouthful.
sure is. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. There's credits there too. So story and art by this one single creator, and then having some help with the colors as well. So
Lloyd Locatelli, I can read, but then there seems to be Polish surname right at the back, and then Kornski.
Yeah. So either way, it's good. It was a really nice one. She found it on the rack. They do really nice at Galaxy. They have a rack that has a bunch of kids' books on it, which is smart as a business, right? You want to have that kind of stuff at kid eye level, so they can grab something and ask to buy it, right?
Yeah. There's one thing really good about Archaea is that the quality of the production. They really produce really good quality stuff.
They sure do.
I've never seen anybody saying that, oh, this looks like flimsy, blah, 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 quality paper. Right. And then usually they take time by using the creators, like like famous ones, they usually like to put other people in limelight. So I always have a really good thought when it comes to Archaea publishing houses. So
and that one has a real kind of nice finish to the paper too. It has this kind of textured feel to it. Yeah.
But I think it belongs to Boom, isn't it? I think they've been bought out.
That could be. Yeah, I can't keep up
with
that stuff.
Yeah, I think they just, they part of the house, I think.
Right.
Because Archaea was independent from at the beginning when I was just collecting comic books. I remember because they were producing some other things I was picking up. I forgot the name.
Yeah.
The name of the things, but now I remember I think they merged with Boom, as far as I know.
Yeah, that could be.
Right or wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's they're always worth picking up. So we'll add that to our pull list for sure.
Okay, that's good. DC, it's nice to see you finding it. Is that the book she was reading when she was taking picture in the breakfast?
No, that was a different one. She was reading one of the DC superhero graphic novels.
Yeah, she does like those.
She's got a couple of them. Oh, no, sorry. This was a Marvel one. I think this was a Marvel one. I can't remember. She's got a few. She's read that one a couple of times, but she really likes it. So she was back to reading it again. So I think we might go and see if we can find some more, maybe in some of my flea market hunts, to see if they have some of those that have made it there.
Uh-huh.
to pick her up some more of those. But yeah, no, she was really into it.
Yeah.
We've been trying to do, like, we've had a real focus on reading this past week.
Uh-huh.
Not just purely because of going back to school, but she's had a little bit of a summer break from reading. So now it's kind of
Oh,
get
yeah.
back into just reading on your own time as well too, as well as together. We always read together too. So, but I want to see her reading more. And she was just really into it. So seeing her sitting and eating cereal and flipping through the book was too good to pass up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's going to that French, isn't it?
She's still in French immersion. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's her French?
It's getting much better. Last year was a bit of a struggle with the reading side of it. So we did some practicing there. It's really difficult for us to practice with her because we don't speak French. So there's only so much that we can help her with. But we feel that it's really important for her to have that second language under her belt, right? Like my son was in French immersion as well too. So he kind of helps her out with things at times too. When he's over, he can kind of help her with pronunciation and things.
So to make my understanding a bit better of the country itself, so is French is like a mandatory language in the schools?
It's not mandatory in schools, but I mean it's mandatory. All of our labeling is French and English. So it's the second language basically. And it depends in the city. In Winnipeg here, there's sections of the city where it's more predominantly French, and French is spoken a lot more. So even within our city, that happens. Then when you go into school, there's usually a French class, but there's the option of having this French immersion. So they speak French all day and read French. The teachers also communicate in English early on too, to make sure that everybody's understanding, obviously. But it's really about just getting immersed in the language, and you just have to figure it out, right? So.
But then, curiously, so because they expect parents to help their own kids in education, yes.
Yep.
So how do they expect a non-French speaking parents to help them with French?
They just say do your best, basically. Like they do get
Okay.
English homework as well too, but they understand that not all the parents speak French. They totally get that, so they don't put that much. I mean, there's some pressure to kind of help out, like at any school for any child, but they totally understand that if you don't speak French, there's going to be limited things that you can help them with. But there's still enough in English for homework too, so we can help with that, which makes the transition a little easier.
So now you can basically buy her a Blueberry or like a Mobius French edition magazine and say, "Can you translate, please?"
Yeah. Well, we've started watching. I've got the Tintin show on DVD, and you can watch it in English or in French. So we've watched some episodes in the past in French, just to kind of again like keep that up. My son was understanding it just fine, but my Lillian was having a bit of a struggle. But again, it was kind of fun to again just immerse her right in that, right? Keep that going.
It would be funny when you now reading with her the books, she would be reading with you. Dad, let me help you with your magazine.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I've got a bunch of those Tintin magazines downstairs too, and they're all in French, so it's not a bad idea. Pick out some because I'm sure there'll be some. I mean, I think for the most part, those were maybe a little more adult-oriented stories, or young adult anyway. But we'll see. Like there might be some that are good for kids in there. That's actually not a bad idea to dig those out again.
Well, as I say, it would be a different way if she does enjoy comic. Maybe you could just find them, maybe like you say, your Tintins or something she would kind of enjoy in the French production or Belgian production comic, and then maybe that would kick in the French a bit better, because at the end of the day, it's comedic sense because the panel kind of explains the scene at the end of the day.
Right.
And no matter how much you don't understand, but the scene is kind of like does explain itself by. Of course, the background story would be great to understand as well, but just thinking about it, maybe, hopefully my son will pick up some other language, but now he's struggling a bit too, so I'm not sure if I am.
Well, and that was the thing, like we were a bit concerned at first because she didn't seem to be grasping it as quick as some of the other kids who also didn't have French in their family. Because I mean, obviously there's a mix. There's some where they come from French-speaking households too. But so she was really struggling because obviously they give you an option every year. Of course, if you don't feel that you can continue, they'll tell you of like, listen, your child should be at such and such a level, and they're really struggling, and they'll have those conversations. But it's one of those things where all of a sudden it just clicked, and you could see her kind of develop all of a sudden really quickly, which was great because we were really concerned. We were thinking a couple of years ago of taking her out of it and going back to English. But even checking with the teachers the few times a year that you end up talking to them, they all told us the same thing. She's like, no, you know, we don't have any concerns about her comprehension and reading. So we would tell you, you know, I think she's fine continuing with this, right? So having that kind of other perspective was good too.
But the beauty of the kids in that age is like they still kind of sponge like they merge
Totally.
lots of things. It does struggle for them in the brain, especially the, you know, like me speaking to languages as well. It's the brain. The brain needs to allow you to basically flip that in, especially, you know, if you not get used to, you know, like always having that hearing in house.
Yeah.
If you don't hear it in the house, it's not always there available, especially when you take breaks on summertime. Probably that kind of would be an issue or something like that. But yeah, seeing my son struggle was just beginning of his life was like,
Right.
hopefully. Or it's funny, my sister, so my niece was born, which I have not seen yet, funny enough, but anyway, she's 3.5, I think. Anyway, so she speaks English, and the household speaks Lithuanian. Even though my sister knows English, she somehow now flipped because she's watching cartoons all the time, and she's a COVID kid as well, don't forget. She's not immersed into other children that much. And then my mom, who basically most of the time spends time with her, she's like, I have to relearn my English because she just speaks English, and she's like, it's hilarious, but she's completely absorbed it. She counts.
Wow.
She's everything, and nobody taught her that. So she's probably
pretty amazing.
I think she will be. Me and my mom always talking. We're thinking she's probably going to be that kind of bilingual person, because if she picks up the language by just watching, by being that age, you never know what's going to happen later. Because
she gets older. Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be extremely easy for her, the English. So
right.
Polyglot,
I think is the word, isn't it? Something like that. Multiple language.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to speak Lithuanian that much.
Right.
It's funny. So it's like hilarious.
She understands it though, right? Obviously. I guess. Yeah. Okay.
She can even speak Lithuanian if she decides to do that, but she's a very strong-willed personality for 3.5-year-old.
Yeah.
So my mom's like, and my dad is absolutely mute for the English at all, nothing. There's not even, he doesn't even, you know, have a grasp, but now he's actually picking up some of the words because he basically gets to be with her, the little kid, and kids, they teach language easier.
Yeah.
Because you basically automatically immerse you in the language because she's absolutely obsessed with it. So she's like, the bus go round, and she sings the songs. She loves this every single English song, those rhymes. She sings them all. Apparently, it's like, oh my god,
that's amazing.
And then she's like 3 and something. So
wow.
Yeah, so some kids can have a good time, not like my child, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I think it's important, man. Like I don't regret it, but I just didn't like it in school when I took French in school. I just did it to just get through the class, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's the same like I was in my school. My first language of choice was German, could you believe?
Right.
But then there was Russian or English, and of course I took English much quicker because of the song. And then the time was, like it's more available kind of thing, like more funny or more, because German is like it's a very like Guten Tag, all this like stern language, like annoying histories and stuff like that. And I was when I kind of understood the history of my country, how Nazis came into my country, basically sold to Russians because we were just part of the blah 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 selling point. So when you are a child and not understanding clearly, you were like, no, I'm against German, I want English now.
Yeah.
And then I can understand Polish slightly. And I can understand Russian. So
wow.
So I have a couple of languages.
That's pretty damn good.
If I stay with Russian for like at least 10 minutes, I probably would speak with the person as well. So
right.
I need that kickback,
Yeah, we had German and Polish spoken when we went to see my Oma and Opa and stuff. So my mom would, and even now we have some neighbors that speak German. My wife speaks some German. So they kind of get into it so she can practice and things too. And again, I was around it when I was a kid, but it never really sunk in, I just didn't absorb it. We didn't hear it as much, only when we visited them. The rest of the time it was English. My mom didn't speak it very much at home. It was just when she was seeing her parents and stuff that she would go back into German, because her mom especially would want to speak German quite a bit. From my memory anyway, I was pretty young when she died, but from what I remember, she spoke a lot of German around.
Mhm. So when I was growing up, the love for turtles.
Yep.
My first song I heard from Turtles, the famous song everybody sings. It
Yeah.
was in Polish.
Oh
That's how
wow.
that's what my first Turtles were like,
Uh-huh.
in Polish language, not in English.
Right, right,
So I kind of like, if I could, like, I can hear it in my ear, but of course I won't be able to repeat it.
right. I
But
think the
then,
only thing that I remember from Polish is kurwa. I think is
whoa,
the
whoa,
only thing that I
whoa, whoa, whoa,
remember.
whoa.
That's all that I remember.
Slow down there. I mean, like, come on, if you start with that already.
So that was because I worked in the welding shop, right? And it was these Polish welders who just taught me how to swear in different languages. There was
Yeah.
a Vietnamese guy, and they would get a kick out of it. Like the boss's grandson is around. Let's teach him how to curse in all these different languages, right? So yeah,
But honestly, now chaos in comics is here.
yeah,
So, but honestly, that word, kurva word, is
yeah,
actually used way too often in some of, like, when you Polish speaks to each other.
yeah,
I mean, that word comes out all the time. It's like, why do you
yeah,
use it so
yeah,
often?
yeah,
What is just, like in America, it's like, really? But
yeah,
that word?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's harsh sounding sometimes for sure. Like
Mm.
hearing my mom when we're having like rouladen and stuff like that, like the way that she roulade, it's like, oh my gosh, that just does not sound
The only
very
thing
appetizing whatsoever.
the only thing I remember is, of course, the tacky one. Ich liebe dich.
Oh yeah,
I love you. There you go. Ich
yeah,
liebe
yeah,
dich. Oh, ich liebe
yeah,
dich.
yeah.
That sounds very romantic, isn't it? Yeah,
It
some
totally
chocolate.
does. Clear in your throat, yeah,
Yeah, especially if you have cold.
yeah,
Kind of thing, yes.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's the only thing I kind of like recall, because honestly I switched completely that brain.
yeah.
Yeah, on the language. Also, honestly, it's kind of fascinating because, like, we had Earl Grey, and he has. Oh, talking about German, I got 3 German books.
Yep.
And my husband brings it because he found it. Oh, there we go. He's already swearing. Chaos in comics. So I got this comics in German. So I was like thinking, I don't know what to do with it because I can't understand F. So I flipped through a couple of things. Like, nope.
Yeah.
I've been coming back. Definitely, I can't read that.
Yeah, yeah,
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, languages are funny, but yeah, it's great to be able to communicate. I always
totally.
find that Spanish, Italian, or also part of Europe very fascinating, because it's kind of like, especially when you speak, like, if you have Brazilian friends,
Mhm.
they almost, like, when they speak in Brazilian Portuguese, it's like they sing it, or like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
talk. So when they speak love language, it's like, oh my god, I forget I was married. Okay, that's just because they can sway you away from, like, in an instant. I mean, it's just the way they. But then you go to Portuguese,
yeah,
European Portuguese, and that's like harsh, eh? In comparison, so it's like, what happened? You go through Atlantic Ocean, and
yeah,
then, well, you just become like more happy-go-lucky because the weather's better or not. I don't know.
yeah.
Anyway,
There's that Latin America seeping in there, right? Yeah,
the language, but yeah, it's definitely. I had
hilarious.
lots of it used to be fun to go into Brazilian like club in London,
Uh-huh.
especially when I was in schools,
Yeah,
because it's absolutely different scene what you expect from club to be,
right.
because everybody's just so relaxed, and they speak such a beautiful, like, you want to talk to them, but you're like, I don't speak Portuguese, but it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
like, I should be part of this conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful language anyway.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's nothing really that blows me away from the rest of the stuff that I read.
Oh no.
There's not too much to talk about.
Mhm.
This was dull as
Oh yeah.
shit.
Oh
This
yeah.
next Parasomnia, yeah. So that's the only one I'm going to be getting of that. It just didn't. It didn't do much for me.
Mhm.
The only thing that I would suggest to, if you don't know it,
Yeah, I've
is
seen
Lonesome
you.
Hunters. The first 3
Yeah, because
are out.
you now saying, that Sleepy saying, then who else saying? Somebody else.
It's great. Yeah, there might be a couple of people. I really liked it. Damien had a bit of a different experience with it than I did, which
Uh-huh.
seems to be the case sometimes, and that's just
Yeah,
the way that it is with everybody. Yeah. he really liked the third issue. I wasn't as crazy about the third issue. I still liked it, but I felt like the first two were stronger. The third one was good, and I can see, it's interesting to see where the story's going to go. But the third one fell off just a tiny bit for me. But that said, nowhere near close enough where I'm going to drop it. I'm on board. His art, Tyler Crook's watercolors are just, man, he's got an amazing style. It's beautiful stuff, really beautiful. And seeing it in the Harrow County Harrow County,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes.
I always want to say Harrow Country. Harrow
Yeah.
County, it's beautiful in there too, but it's really nice seeing him do his own book and have kind of free reign to do what he wants. It's gorgeous. Like every single page, it's like a Darrow, just in a different way. Seeing the landscape, seeing the skies that he paints and things, they're just beautifully, beautifully done. And I like this kind of, anything to do with like some magical elements or stuff like that, or witchcraft or these kind of things. Like those are, I'm a mark for that stuff, as Jim Rugg would say. I'm a mark for it. I love it. It's just that kind of thing appeals to me, and that has this in abundance in this book so far. Anyway, we'll see where it goes.
I'm probably gonna wait until it's finished. It's not gonna be like a long ongoing, is it? Or
I'm honestly not sure. I never looked into how long it goes. I don't know if this is like a 12 issue kind of thing, or if this is going to be a continuation for as long as he wants, or what the plan is. I don't know if Chaos and Comics is still here. He might know, because I think he was reading it as well too, if I remember. It's hard to keep up because he's reading so much on Twitter. It's amazing. He should have the hashtag 5,000 comic goal.
Yeah.
He's up to like, isn't he up to 1,500, 2,000? And Chris, if you're still here, what's your count up to?
Jesus,
I thought I saw like 1,200, 1,300, something like that. I don't know what he's at now.
You already have reached your goal. I know that.
I sure did.
You done your video as well, showing off your readingship.
Yeah, just the top stuff that I read so far this year. It's been really good to kind of analyze that stuff, and just kind of see where my interests were and what kind of stuff was my focus this year. And just, it's nice to revisit the reads that I really enjoyed and kind of have another look at them, because there's a couple I'd like to read again. I don't know if I'm going to anytime soon, but there are some that I'd like to revisit. I don't know. I think this tag, and again, it's not to kind of give him all the praise and talk about him the entire video, but I think it was Chris that turned me onto it originally as well too, when I started it last year. He was doing it and I was asking what it was about. So I think it's a great way to track and just kind of see what you're reading, and how much.
I don't know if I would be able to be so meticulously to keeping up with the updates, but the Twitter definitely helps you guys. Because basically, because you keep the tab on in one, isn't it? You just add to your one post.
I just add to the one, and I don't know if that's interesting to anybody else, but it's interesting for me because I like to scroll through it every once in a while. And then it's also good where when I do like my spreadsheet shit, my nerd stuff on that side of it, I can just go to the one link and scroll all the way back to number one, and kind of, it helped me make that list. I meant to kind of do that in tandem as I was reading, but it just never works out that way. I was always way behind, so I would just do a bunch of entering all at once, and it was easy to kind of have that scroll.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, as I say, single issues is becoming less and less in my pull list, to be honest. It's not because I don't want it, but it's becoming like a drag to just keep up with the singles because I've been so immersed in the graphics.
Yep.
But I do enjoy, like I was thinking actually while we were having a break, not talking about comic books, I was thinking, do I want to get that like monthly, those singles and stuff? And the minute I start thinking about my turtles, like nope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have them anyway. I'm gonna go as far as I can. I'm not gonna read them like straight away. I'm still gonna continue having them. And I said to my comic guy, it's like, look, my pool is probably gonna diminish into the point where you're probably gonna forget about me in existence. But I said, like, he just continue with that toast turtles and just keep me up. Although I don't, there's a new Armageddon game came out, which is the original like Eastman and Layman. What is Eastman?
Peter Laird,
Peter Laird. So he's creating that one. Is coming back again to Turtles.
Oh wow!
And he's doing that. So it should be that one. I'm sorry, I'm double guessing myself. But anyway, so he's coming out with the offshoot, which I'm interested in, but I'm never kept up with that because there's so many Turtles offshoots coming out. So of course, turtles would be great for me as a fan in collected editions because they keep up with every single shit.
Yep.
But I already started my singles, and I am like, let's say, if I can keep up with 55 issues of this,
Yeah.
turtle is a breeze for me because
Yeah, that's right.
because it's just as how much I enjoy them.
Yep.
And so that would be great for me if I wanted to go. But I just like, no, collected edition is great for that kind of, if I kind of like feel getting it. But I'm
Yep.
more like concentrating now on the, like, if a library can offer me until the point I get fed up, which is at times it's really quite a difficult thing. Singles issues the breeze to read. You feel like a comic book. You pick it up one issue, it takes no longer than half an hour.
Yeah.
And you're done, and you can just go away, and you have your moment of that pleasingness of actually reading comic book, looking at art and stuff like that.
Yep.
When you have graphic novels, you're investing in it. So at the end of the day, you have to think if if the story flows really well. If it does, then it's easy to read and then go through quite quickly. But if the story doesn't go, which I found out a couple of times, I picked up a couple of books, and it didn't go anywhere for me. I was like, no, I'm not doing. And I usually want to finish it because sometimes I'm not giving enough time for the writer. Let's say this way, because at the end of the day, I have finished story. But there was a couple of books where like, no, not worth it. I was like,
Right.
no, I forgot about it. I put it away and then I returned back to my library.
Right.
So, two good parts about get the whole story sometimes, but not always is as rewarding. But
Yeah,
in single
totally.
issues, it's much easier and quicker. So,
And honestly, the single issue reading becomes such a part of my kind of wind down after everybody's gone to bed, come back downstairs and just read some single issues. Like you said, it's this nice bite-sized chunk, but it really becomes part of my like wind down routine of like, okay, so now work is done. Now all that shit is done. And now it's like time to just relax and kind of turn off my brain a little bit. There's actually one that I wanted to talk about quickly here that just came to my mind as you were talking, because it was one of those things about like the idea of a single issue and how kind of enjoyable it can be. I'll make myself big here again. So there was this it was called Horse. It was going to be 3-issue miniseries. The first, it was only the other thing about kind of going back and picking this stuff up without knowing much about it is this is all that ever came out. So it's kind of, because once you read something like this is Slave Labor Books is who did this one. This was great because it was a real mix of it seemed to be a few different things. There was this, and it also had this really nice art style. So this is 1989. Raphael Neves is the creator.
Yeah.
And it has this really nice kind of line style that kind of has shades of a couple of different people whose names are escaping me right now. Alex Nino being one of them.
Oh yes,
because there's this sort of feel of the continuing line creating the entire image and stuff like that. It's cleaner, I think, than his, but it also has kind of like a taupey-ish type of. It's sort of entering that area, not as much detailed, but this was a really kind of nice, surprising book of. It sort of had these moments of a heist in it. This couple, he's a criminal. She's known that the entire time. So they kind of have that relationship going. It's this relationship drama. And then all of a sudden we get introduced to a character that's like a minotaur. So it has all of a sudden it changes into this kind of spiritual and fantasy kind of elements are thrown in there. It was a really enjoyable read, a really nice setup to, again, would have been some impressive storytelling, I think, if it had gone on the 3 issues. Either way, it was very, very, very curious as to where this story would go. And I guess one of the other enjoyable things about some of these sometimes is then just imagining and making up a continuing story in your head, I guess, of where it would have gone. But I should do some more digging into this to see if it came anywhere else. Like, that's a nice panel too. Just really nice looking style, that real 80s kind of style, but something more going on. And I don't know much about the creator himself or themselves. I'm not sure. But I'd like to see if they've done anything else out there. Yeah, like stuff like this kind of remind me of Topi, you know,
Yes,
with
yes.
the kind of single line making up the shading and things like that too. This one is, it says slave labor there, Gator, which is San Jose, California, but I don't know where the
Rafael Nieves
oh
is.
sorry the art. I'm sorry, the art is by Hui Han Louis. So
Oh,
I
what?
guess written by Raphael Neves. I apologize. That's I did bad credits there.
There you
So there you go. So that's proper credit to the artist there.
go.
There you go. I apologize. Back to 1989 if you're around and still watching. Um, so yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was really nice. Another from the like dollar bin or 50-cent bin dive, but unfortunately the only one, the
Oh,
only issue.
always those small presses. You always don't know if they're gonna be publishing it again.
Yeah, if
But
they're
in
gonna
that,
survive much longer, yeah.
yeah, in those times, it's competing with all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like now in this market, I mean, look, things happening everywhere, changes and things,
Yep.
and
It seems though that we're not in a spot where, I mean, at least I haven't heard anyway. There seems to be a lot of indie publishers, but they seem to be existing. You know, even
yeah.
if they are only putting out a few books. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
seeing people talk about Behemoth is a good example. They seem to be still trudging along. You know, that it feels like the market has changed dramatically where they can exist, or maybe even what they're releasing. Maybe they have more realistic goals as far as the amount of titles that they're going to release and how they put those out, right? So,
So I was reading, the digital class, and he was telling about how grateful he is for Image, and
mm-hmm.
how long the Image is being around now. Like
Yep,
doing all this stuff, and it's like you don't think about it because you're so immersed with so many publishers now. There's so
yep,
many things, or so many people are trying to, get into this world of. And I think like TV shows like Sandman is really helpful. I think it's going to really help the comic books back. I think they people
totally.
a lot of like, yeah, I went to this like couple bookshops again just to like that's how I got that Devil there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but
Yeah,
I went to just to see because we were like when holidays I always try to look for comic book shop or bookshop, some who sells the comic graphic novels, so just to see what's actually in the market, whatever they're trying to sell. And of course, a lot of, because it's England, don't forget, a lot of Sandman stuff, like shit
yeah.
loads. And you just, what kind of, what, do you want to just a graphic novel, paperback, or whatever, or a hardback? It's just going to be available.
Thanks, Gator. Yeah, that's fantastic. Looks like the artist is an oil painter now from that horse comic.
Probably would be
I'll have to
especially.
dig. I'll have to check that out.
So yeah, so it's interesting. It's good to see excitement again, because it seems to be even the one of the stores in Oxford which were selling graphic novels, and they are still selling them, but they opened up a bigger section now.
Uh-huh.
And just because probably they got a whiff of saying, okay, people are coming back again to shops to buy their stuff, and they suddenly like huge display of the choices, and many, of course, Marvel and DC. But they usually have some stuff like like you have your blanking all the names now of the offshoot stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's good to see to that kind of stuff again, because I like that. I mean,
yeah.
all these things helps.
Well, and I think that's also the good thing of kind of Sandman breaking the way that it has in this show. I would love to see some of that, you know, not that everything has to be film and TV fodder, but I'd love to see them explore some more of those older books, those older independent books specifically. And
Yeah.
maybe we can see some translations, because I mean, isn't Grendel coming soon, right?
Is it?
There's stuff. Yeah, I thought that's what I heard. I thought that Grendel had been
Oh
optioned
yes,
or
yes,
something.
Wagner
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's the Wagner
So
stuff.
I
Yes.
mean, I would love to see some more of that era of stuff kind
Hmm.
of get some you know, and a second life, I guess, you know, because anytime those shows, I'm sure that they do end up selling a little bit more. You see a tiny bump in sales for the comics and graphic novels and things, but so it would be interesting because there's a lot of good stuff out there that I think would translate well. I mean, Jared Osborne and I have talked about it a million times, and he mentioned it on Friday. Like, I would love to see
Mhm.
the Bradleys make it to a show. You know what I mean? I don't know how that would work, but I would love to see kind of some Peter Bagg type stuff make it to the
Yeah,
screen, just to some sort of like satire, some comedy or something. I think would be fun.
I think in generally, I read somewhere that the iPads and all that kind of stuff really helps the comic market in generally, because of the
Right.
people, the quick access. You can still
Yeah.
continue. Of course, it doesn't help those Comixologies going into shit because somebody buys them and they buy them, blah 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 blah, whatever.
Right.
But those, like the ones I like, the Europe comics, like where you can do that from, buy digitally first, and then
Yeah.
they release it kind of a bit later for, like, of course, for the French public or European public much quicker, but then for English translated it comes a bit later, but they're still available for us to get hold of like more European stuff, like whatever they produce in daily basis. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still very happy. Like, I see stuff and, I want to, too expensive. No, I don't want to buy full price.
Right. Right.
Well, because they of course. And it's
Yeah.
funny enough, in UK, so you have those Marvel Epic editions, like, which I kind of trying out them. But in England, you have their own Marvel prints of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
stories, so which is kind of, for me as a reader, is kind of a bit more confusing than anything else. So you have the way they produce the storylines and what they contain in this, and you have in UK something like, they have more like, they take the character and they show most of the stuff what is famous from the characters whose first appearances, and all the, like, the best storylines picked up in the one collection, and they call them like platinum, something like that. So it's great, but it's kind of confusing because I was looking for Epic collections and they didn't have any, or like maybe one. And the problem with Epic editions now is, like, because it's so popular and it contains so much information, usually they get sold out, and if it's sold out, they don't reprint them, which is apparently, it seems to be kind of like they do print them back, but if it's auto print, usually it doesn't come back. So
Right. Right.
like, frustrating when you don't get it on time.
It's gone. Yeah. Yeah.
Have to keep up all the time.
And
so.
also knowing what's gonna go and what's not. Right. So
Yeah,
it creates
exactly.
this panic. Yeah.
Like I said, like those what is that martial arts character we have this movie?
Shang-Chi or yeah.
Yeah, Shang-Chi, yeah. So
Yeah.
they had epic editions of that, I think. And then I wanted to get in, but of course they got sold out. So because the movie was a year ago,
Yeah.
so whatever produced it was a year ago. So can't find it. Always overpriced, always out of stock, and it's like, I want to find out about the character a little bit, at least, because the Silver Age, Bronze Age, those comic books are getting pricier now. I don't know if probably you noticed that, but market.
I haven't actually noticed yet.
The comic books before, like Daredevil's 180s, not Frank Miller run, let's say 200s. They used to be £1.50. Now they're going into 3-4s.
Oh, really? Hey.
I mean, it depends, of course.
Yeah.
Everywhere the location is different. You probably can find it somewhere cheaper or not. But they ask, like the more is like Silver Age, especially, I think they increase the price in. So yeah, so it's always been now more. Oh, you black screen again, Terrence. I was in development for years and years. Oh, I see.
I'm here. Sorry, there was an emergency bulletin coming through again. Yeah, I think Colin is right. Bag gave up on Hollywood. I think some of those guys definitely gave, because there was talk of a cartoon. There was all talk of stuff. I know that some of his characters appeared in like a commercial, I think, overseas at one point. So I think he probably gave up on him, and probably rightfully so, because that's the other thing, right? Like, getting into that world is a whole other world of kind of scumbags, so you think comics is gonna rip you off, like fucking movies will rip you off without even batting an eyelid, so you have to be extra careful.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
cool. All right
else?
No, I mean, that's it. Tonight it is actually just a half an hour before we started our chat was my 10 years on YouTube, which is freaking madness. So tonight I'm going to do like my Sunday wrap and then kind of talk a little bit about, the 10 years, nothing in great detail, but I wanted to try to kind of celebrate it, I guess, in some point. Cause I mean, it's crazy to think like 10 years, cause you've got to be like 9, right? Because you didn't start very long afterwards, did you?
I started like probably maybe next year for me.
Yeah.
Like, I know I started like maybe a year later, but I've been on YouTube longer when I produced the first video, let's say this way.
Right.
But yeah, but yeah, it's close to that point as well, because I remember you guys saying 9 years, and I was like, what that? And I was looking back and I was like, shit, me too, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I went and kind of looked back at a couple of things just to kind of get a little taste of it, and it's just wild to see even just the kids growing up in the videos and myself getting older in the videos, and just kind of thinking about like who was making videos at that time and stuff. So we'll talk about that tonight a little bit. That'll probably be like 10 o'clock my time, I think. Oh, look at this, Rasa. I keep seeing your first video pop up in the recommended section.
Wow, really?
There you go.
Interesting.
Oh, hey, look at this. I watched a really old Rasa vid the other day of her drawing Star Trek characters. Sweet.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Just thinking about that first video, like, cringy.
Yeah.
all videos are like that.
Yeah.
So, But,
well, yeah, you're trying to figure it out at the beginning, right? Like, it's the way that it goes. Yeah.
I was so nervous, I remember. Because because I remember I was watching your videos. No, Damien, like I started talking, and then they will start, like you get in that rhythm of people talking comic books. And I remember it's my first basically thing I was doing is going to libraries again. So I'm kind of reversing back to where I was before. So just to start to like this thing rolling, and I went to buy some comic books, and I got really excited, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I should do this video.
Yeah.
So, and the story starts from that point onwards. But yeah.
He said the video was great and the art was awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it was original Star Trek characters, so all Kirkman. Yeah, I just enjoyed. Like when you go in the role, and Star Trek is my thing in uni, so I watch Star Trek, all of them. So now I'm kind of up to date of all of the creations of Star Trek now. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'm being like, I could say myself now, I'm a really fan of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Even though, when you watch some stuff now, I remember before, it never happened to me, but just recently, it's like when you watch something and you know about like I know exactly what they're talking about, like those snippets.
Right.
And that's a good feeling, to be honest, because it kind of like gets you back to what you have done before, like or read it or watched it, the moment of it. So yeah. It's the same with drawing.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Well, congrats. You're gonna do.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it'll be good. Like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit tonight as I kind of do the usual weekly wrap. But I was thinking maybe showing like a couple of clips from some of the early stuff, but just talking about kind of what's changed throughout the years and what it was then versus now. And I mean, obviously we still love it because we're still doing it. So it is kind of nice. And then Comic Board, make sure you send us an email. I don't remember when we said if we picked a date actually for you to come on, but we'd love to have you on. I mean, I think at least you and I are back now, Rasa. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
now, because
maybe like next Sunday or the Sunday afterwards. Keep in touch with us there though, and let's get it set up so and we can start the. And again, that invitation is extended to anybody else as usual. Like, just keep in touch. If you're on social media, just shoot us a message or something, and let's try to get a rotating cast on again.
Yeah, why not?
Cool. Right
cool.
On, everybody. Thanks very much. Thanks for joining us for this 2 hours, and we will see you next week.
Don't forget to give a like, subscribe.
Yeah. Hit the bell.